Before we dive into our show, here's a message for one of our partners.
Welcome to the future. DMAP's Digicon Revolution 2024, where AI, e-commerce, data analytics, and groundbreaking tech ignite. Hear from visionaries, innovators, revolutionaries. Hands-on masterclasses to turn you into a leader, an innovator. Don't just adapt. Drive the change. In a world racing forward, be the force that leads. DMAP's Digicon Revolution 2024. Your digital future starts now. Join the revolution. Register today at digicon.com.ph.
Number one, actually, for you to get that book written, actually is to start.
Yes.
Yeah, not naman to start writing, but you can start with an idea.
Yes.
You can't believe the number of people who have told me, oh, I want to write a book. And then I ask them, oh, why? What's it about? I don't know yet.
Basta.
Or I don't know where to start. Oo. So, wag naman ganon.
Okay.
Start with an idea, an inspiration, di ba? A scene, a quote. And I think if you have something, write it down. Write it down in your notebook. And that is something, you can have many starts. You can have many
What if the inner
ideas.
critic says, ang dami nang gumawa niyan eh.
Oo nga. That's very common. Yung parang,
So,
why would they care?
Anong sagot? Sino mo babasa?
It's good. Every day, constantly you have to tell yourself na, I deserve to be heard. I have a story to tell that only I can tell it.
Hi, this is Mirza Season. Welcome to You Can Do This, a podcast that'll help you achieve your dreams and goals one episode at a time. What are you waiting for? Let's go!
They say everyone has a book inside them, and if you've clicked on this episode, you must feel that calling too. Well, this is your sign to stop overthinking and make it happen. Whether you're aching to tell your stories about others, or share your ideas and insights with the world, you know that writing a book can create a lasting impact and legacy and open doors to new opportunities. Here to motivate you to turn your author dreams into reality is a Filipina writer based in Singapore and author of 6 novels. Her latest, Hue City, debuted at number 2 on the Straits Times Bestseller List. And Suddenly Superstar made it to number 8, am I right?
Correct.
On the same list. She also wrote Miss Makeover, Budget is the New Black, Girl Meets World, and No Boyfriend Since Birth, which was adapted into a TV series starring Alessandra De Rossi. What year?
I think 2009.
Yes. A former journalist, she started as a news reporter for Today and was a lifestyle editor for magazines including Preview, Cosmo Philippines, and Harper's Bazaar Singapore. She is a member of the Singapore Writers Group and has led talks and panels at literary events in Southeast Asia, including the Singapore Writers Festival. Please welcome my former colleague at Cosmo and good friend, Claire Betita de Guzman.
Hi, Mirza.
Hi,
I'm so
Claire.
happy to be here. So giddy and thrilled and just happy.
Likewise. I love your colors. I wore the wrong thing, unfortunately.
all.
Dapat color din.
No, those are colors and those are shapes and ruffles and textures.
And fringe.
Oh, yeah.
By Tweety. So how does it feel to be isang number 2 on the list?
Yeah. Wow. It feels surreal. And also it feels affirming.
Yes.
And well, it's my third time to be on the list in the Straits Times. And I think I'm just happy that this means that my book has reached a certain number of people. And that means that this book has the capacity to change these people the way books have changed mine when I was younger.
Amazing. And you're also in town for the Manila International Book Fair. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm so happy that my books, Hue City and Sudden Superstar, is part of Manila International Book Fair, which is happening now until the 15th of September. And it's sold in 3 bookstores, in fully booked National Bookstore, and at the Penguin and Alchem booth. So in 3 booths. And
Wow. So tatlong book signing ba ito?
I hope, but I'll be everywhere. Tomorrow I'll be there,
Right.
and Sunday I'll be moderating a panel about publishing. So
Right.
ang saya, right?
Right. So by the time this drops, tapos na, so sayang.
Andiyan pa
But
rin naman
still,
ako.
yes. So how do you feel about your succession of successes?
Wow.
Did you ever think? I remember maybe 20 years ago, you, I, and our other friend Joanna sat down and we were going to write a book. Only one person made it happen, and that's Claire. So how do you feel now?
Wow. For this, alam mo, I'll quote Melanie Marquez.
Do not judge.
She said, when it rains, it's four.
It's 4. It's 6 eh.
So I believe in Melanie Marquez.
Okay.
And also, no, I believe in taking everything with a grain of salt and humor.
Yes.
Let's not take everything seriously, right? But everything has been on hyperspeed.
Oo.
And succession of successes. Yeah. But I think also it's really the fruit of my hard work. Because I really
Yes.
worked my butt off.
Ikukwento natin yan later.
Telling everyone about this book, aside from writing this book, right? And I really wanted to tell the world about this, and hopefully nga to change something in them
Right.
when they read it.
She also said, do not judge my brother. He's not a book.
Exactly. Another favorite quote.
Hi, Melanie. So tell us about Hue City and Sudden Superstar for those who don't know yet.
Yeah, so Hue City is my 6th novel, and it's the newest one. And it's a Southeast Asian novel about 3 people, different nationalities, a Filipino, a Vietnamese, and a Singaporean. And they're quite down and out characters, and they want a second chance in life. And they do all sorts of things. Like one of them is Carmen. She's an ex-Ate Van Gang member.
Ate Van Gang.
O, diba? Who wants to start a new life, an honest life, and she's looking for her mother. Ang daming drama.
Okay.
And their lives intertwine in this Vietnamese city called Hue, which is the land of the former capital of Vietnam, where the former dynasties were until 1945. So it's very dramatic and very, I think, emotional as well. And it's about starting over. And I hope readers will be taken on a journey along with their own starting overs, and once they read this book.
I
And
smell a movie. Hello, Netflix.
wow, I hope so.
You were telling me that Hue City is kind of different from the others. For one, there's no girl on the cover.
Correct. Oo nga, no?
What does
Wala
that say
nga.
about it?
Well, I think everyone knows that I've been writing romance books, chick lit, and rom-coms. And the past 5 books have been that, including Sudden Superstar, which is about social media naman, and a romance, and finding yourself, and how to cope with sudden fame, and getting over a break. Also about starting over. And this is very different, Hue City, but actually, this has been the novel that I've been wanting to write. In fact, it took me 5 years, even more, to write this, because it was really spilling out of me. It's more me because, well, I am romantic, but there's also another side of me, which is very serious, very emotional, very empathetic, and very just hugot.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reviews have been coming in, and some naiiyak daw sila. Some natulala daw sila after they read.
Oh my
Oo,
gosh.
grabe ang mga
Wow.
reactions. And I was that. When I
Right.
was reading books by Margaret Atwood, Jhumpa Lahiri, that sort of literary fiction.
Oh my gosh. Jhumpa fan club. Grabe siya. Ibang lola mo.
Oo
And in
nga.
Italian pa, di ba?
Isa pa yan.
Oo. So your books have a common theme of starting over. And this has parallelisms with your life. Tell us about the starting over phase and what you were going through when you wrote these books.
Yeah. Actually, starting over it's one of my favorite themes. I don't know. I love writing about it. And it's because, well, mine has not been as dramatic as the starting over situations of my characters. But
So
they
hindi
all,
ka ex-Ate Van Gang member?
O diba? Secret. Secret.
Oo, iba yung nilalagay niya.
But I think one common theme is they moved countries, which
Okay.
was what happened
Yes,
to me.
yes, definitely.
And you were so part of that. I left the Manila in 18 years ago actually to move to
Wow, ang
Singapore. Ang
tagal na
tagal,
pala.
no?
Ah.
How fast time flies. And I left a very good life in Manila. I was part of Cosmo and I loved working for the magazines and I love writing feature articles and fashion. And then I had to move to Singapore and where I had no friends, where I actually could, even if they were speaking in English at that time, I could barely even understand them. I was just that not experienced. So I had to start over in my own way, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't as glorious and fantastic as I had imagined, and as what others had told me. It wasn't that at all. There were sad times, dry times. There were times when I didn't even write. But it's about starting over. It's easy. I mean, what is good about this is we have actually the power to start over in a big way or in a little way. Like tomorrow, we
Right.
feel bad now. Tomorrow we can start over and feel better.
Right. Tomorrow's another day.
Yes.
You were also telling me before, and I don't know if you want to share this. We can always cut it out if you don't want. But you said that a comment from a friend from way back kind of got to you when she said, si Claire, housewife na lang siya ngayon.
Yeah. My gosh. And I think not just one friend.
Oh, not just
Yeah.
one. Na lang.
Several.
Okay.
Several people have told me that, and I also heard it, I guess, from different places. So I guess this was the general sentiment, and I even read, I think, an email about it or a WhatsApp message na this friend said that na, oh, sayang si Claire, no, nasa magazine, editor na siya ng magazine.
Oh my gosh.
Tapos, housewife na lang siya ngayon. Oh, di ba? The audacity. But at that time, wow, that really hurt, huh? And it was really like a slap in the face. And honestly, because I was young, I didn't know what to do. But to just continue on and try to ignore it. But that, it's hard to forget
Right.
remarks like that. And
Not that there's anything wrong
with
about
being a housewife.
but how did this motivate you to do all this?
Well, they say pain actually is a great motivator. And when I'm in pain, gosh, I get creative. No. When I'm in pain,
Sorry na lang kayo.
when I'm in pain, actually, first I get angry. I get so mad, I'm fuming. And then I get creative. And then I start thinking of ways of what to do next, what else to do. In fact, I write it down. I write all these remarks down. And when I start, sometimes when I start a story, I think of these people.
Yeah, okay.
I really do. So
You're all in her books.
maybe. and so I every time I start a story, I think about this, and now I have lots of stories. It doesn't have to involve them, but it's just that there was no way for me to cope except with writing. Thank goodness for writing. I actually healed myself through that. So I wrote. I have a lot of drafts
Right.
for short stories, for novels even. And honestly, yeah, those remarks were kind of behind that.
And now you're making money out of your feelings.
Now, a quick message from one of our partners.
Welcome to the future. DMAP's Digicon Revolution 2024, where AI, e-commerce, data analytics, and groundbreaking tech ignite. Hear from visionaries, innovators, revolutionaries. Hands-on masterclasses to turn you into a leader, an innovator. Don't just adapt. Drive the change. In a world racing forward, be the force that leads. DMAP's Digicon Revolution 2024. Your digital future starts now. Join the revolution. Register today at digicon.com.ph.
So what were some of the early struggles that you faced when you were writing your first few books?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. I love answering that because isa pa to. There was another person who told me, another writer actually, who said when I came out with my first book, which was No Boyfriend Since Birth, right? And that was such a good thing. I mean, the response for that was
Yes!
phenomenal. I had like tons of
Oo.
email from women who said I changed their lives.
Naging ano siya, before viral, naging viral yung acronym, di ba?
Yes, and because it was about making the first move. Actually, I had no boyfriend
Yeah.
since birth, so I have to do the first move. And then there's this one writer who said, "Oh, Claire, you came up with something. Sayang, no, it's not a real book."
Oh my God! I wonder kung sino yan. Anong sabi mo?
So, wala. Kasi I was so young and that was my first book. I think I was just thrilled that I had a book and thank goodness also for great editors. My editor was Tara
Tara
Sering.
This was
And-
a summit book.
Yeah, and another struggle is, well, I knew magazine writing, I knew feature writing, but I didn't know how to write fiction. I didn't study it at all. But I'm a reader, and that turned me into a writer of fiction. So that was one struggle with the craft. And Tara had to teach me. So thank you, Tara. And I learned a lot from her from creating sympathetic characters to giving catchy subtitles, all sorts. But that book not being a real book.
Just a bestseller lang naman, ano. And naging TV show.
Manipis kasi siya. It's this very cute book, but
Oo.
it's still
Yeah, I
a
remember blue and orange.
Yes.
With a stamp.
yes.
Oo. So, for those who are aspiring to get that book out of them, any encouraging data or trends happening in the world right now that can motivate them to take that first big step?
I think social media is a big factor. A lot of aspiring authors now are also young people who are so comfortable with the media, with TikTok, with Instagram, with Facebook, Threads, and now part of writing a book is not just writing a book; it's also telling the world about it. So building your brand in a way. And so they have this advantage because once they get that book written down, well, easily they can distribute it to their network. People would know more, they would have more sales, and they would get their message across. So I think this one is a very good trend that anyone can actually promote themselves or build their brand through social media.
And this is something you do very well.
Wow.
You're my idol sa posting. Ang galing.
Wow, it's nakakatawa, no? It's like to do a 30-second reel, it will take me 3 hours.
Ako more. Kaya nag-stop ako kasi napagod na ako. And how about it seems that there's really a need for more diverse voices in literature, especially in the Southeast Asian market. What's the environment like now in Southeast Asia when it comes to book publishing?
Yeah, I think it's very receptive now, and that's really a big topic even when we do our talks in Singapore. Bringing Southeast Asian stories globally. And there are all sorts and in all genres. So I think this is the perfect time to write your Southeast Asian book, whether it be in Filipino, in English, I mean, or set in any country in Southeast Asia. I think you have a good chance of getting an agent or finding a publisher.
Right.
And it's not anymore limited to just literary fiction. Maybe we have lots of Asian love stories, romances, thrillers, horror stories. And that was so different from when I was growing up in the 80s, where I read all these books. And I actually wrote my first story at age 13. But the protagonist was named Joel Smith. And the kontrabida had like blonde hair because
Sa akin naman, French girl. O, diba? So far removed from us.
wow, but that was because we had a lack of Southeast Asian
Yes, all the reading
stories.
material was Western.
Yeah. So now is really, I think it's a
Right.
glorious time
Right.
to write a Southeast Asian book.
Right. So do you think everyone should and can write a book? What if people say, di naman ako magaling mag-English or hindi naman ako writer? What can you say about that?
I think I still believe that everyone should and can write a book. It's just a matter of starting and then following through and learning. I mean, we never stop learning. Even us,
Yes.
we still learn. And now is a great time. We have online courses. We have workshops. I mean, I'm sure your friend is already giving a workshop. We have podcasts.
Yes.
So many things to we have Google. We have
We have
internet.
Grammarly.
Exactly. So you have all the tools. And I believe that everyone has a story to tell. And everyone's itching to tell a story. And we have readers. I mean, there's a comeback now to printed books even.
Yes.
So and there is room for everyone.
right.
It's not
There's
just
room for everyone.
right. It's not just like tayo lang magsusulat, tayo lang manunod,
Tayo lang
magsusulat.
magbabasa at
No,
bibili.
I really believe you can. It really depends on what you want. If you really want it,
Right.
yeah, it will show through.
Right.
Mm.
How do we shut up the negative voices in our head that are saying, it's not a real book. Housewife ka lang. Wala kang karapatan. What's your tip for that?
Oh nga eh. Paano ba? I think you really have to first you need to do some inner work before anything else. So it really has to be, and number one is you have to be compassionate to yourself first.
Yes.
I mean, you tell your friend, "Uy, kaya mo yan. Kaya masusulat mo yan." You tell your friend
Pero
that.
hindi mo masabi sa sarili.
Exactly. Hindi mo masabi sa sarili mo. So, I think about yourself first. Be compassionate. Forgive yourself.
Right.
We have made mistakes. You will make mistakes.
Right.
More mistakes. And be ready to forgive yourself. Be ready to go soft on yourself.
Right.
And always think you deserve to be heard.
Right. And before you write a book, you have to write it.
Umupo
So
ka
that's my
muna.
problem. Nandito siya lahat. How do you deal with writer's block or other forms of inertia or block or inner obstacles?
It's funny because now that I'm this age, I have ceased to believe that writer's block exists.
Oh, wow. Talaga. Do tell.
Oh, I really don't know, but there are dry periods.
Okay.
And I think you can use that period to create something else other than a piece, than a writing piece. If you're into fashion, then do it. If you're into movies, if you're into going out or painting, I think you do something that gives you joy before going back to writing. And I think, again, it's important to forgive yourself.
Right.
To say that, well, this is how I cope. I can't write right now. But even if you travel, even if you go out, I believe just think that you're still writing. Go easy on yourself, actually. That's one of my
So do you have a
solutions.
writing routine that turns it into a habit?
Yeah, I'm quite the morning person. And if I have a deadline, I really wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to write the pages. And usually it's good writing from 5 a.m. until maybe 8. After that, it's downhill. But it's quality writing because maybe the mind is fresh and I feel like the day is still long. So
Right.
I'm not in a rush or panicking. And the other habit, when I'm not on deadline, the other habit that I really do have is that I write first thing when I wake up.
Okay.
It's called morning pages, but I don't do the
Yes.
whole 3 pages
By
of-
Julia Cameron.
Yeah,
Look
by
it up.
Julia Cameron. I don't do the whole 3 pages. I used to, but now I can't. But I think it's all right to just write a paragraph, a page, and I always encourage people to do this, to to write anything. I had a bad dream. I didn't sleep well. Write your grocery list.
Okay.
Write your I'm annoyed by this, or I feel grateful. That's the best. Diba? I feel grateful today for like this. So write anything, but like grab hold of that pen, have your notebook beside you, and start writing.
So longhand.
Longhand.
Oo.
Longhand. I have never done the
So you've written these
pen.
books longhand lahat? Okay,
no.
okay.
For morning pages, longhand.
okay,
And then
for morning
novels. Novels, even poetry. Poetry is laptop.
Okay, wow. And what do you have, like a quota per week, or how do you divide the writing time in order to finish a book? How
Yeah.
long does it take you, or iba-iba ba?
Iba-iba siya, no? It really depends on the length of your book or how far you've gone. But I was never that. Siguro I'm that at the 25th percent of the
Right.
of the ending when I'm panicking already.
Ano yung
But
pinakamabilis na book na nasulat mo?
I think it's Sudden Superstar.
Wow, how
Yeah.
long did it take?
Less than 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was that fast?
I was on deadline.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was. Yeah, katakot talagang deadline. So, and
Oo.
how funny na we're never used to it ever. So, I was on deadline and I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to let myself down by
Right.
missing a deadline. So,
Right.
I really wrote every day and every morning.
Right. So now you're gonna give us your 5 practical steps that aspiring authors can take to get that book written and published.
Wow.
A la Claire Betita de Guzman.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, actually, for you to get that book written, actually is to start. Yeah, not naman to start writing, but you can start with an idea.
Yes.
You can't believe the number of people who have told me, "Oh, I want to write a book." And then I ask them, "Oh, why? What's it about?" I don't know yet.
Basta.
Or I don't know where to start. Oo. So, wag naman ganon.
Okay.
Start with an idea, an inspiration, di ba? A scene, a quote. And I think if you have something, write it down. Write it down in your notebook. And that is something, you can have many starts. You can have many
What if the inner
ideas.
critic says, ang dami nang gumawa niyan eh.
Oo nga. That's very common. Yung parang,
So,
why would they care?
Anong sagot? Sino magbabasa? But you still wanna write, di ba?
Oo. Wala. You really have to, as I said, it really has to be from you.
Yeah.
Your inner, it has to be this inner strength in you to pull out that story. And kaya nga you constantly, I think it's good every day, constantly you have to tell yourself na, I deserve to be heard. I have a story to tell that only I can tell it. And ganun siya. And the more you say it, the more you feel it.
Mamamanifest siya.
Oo. It's really not easy.
Right.
So it's really an effort. Effort ka talaga na
Oo.
sabihan yung sarili mo. So nothing here is easy actually.
So if you think it's a lie that you can write a book, if you repeat it often, it becomes the truth.
Ganun na lang.
Magkakatotoo din yan. Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2, you have to make writing a part of your life.
Yun.
Ayun. Kasi sometimes, of course, we have other things in our life. We have jobs, we have families, children, boyfriends, husbands, and friends.
Netflix.
Ayun, friends. But I really believe it has to be like infused in all those things.
So do you suggest time blocking it like you do, 5 to 8 a.m.?
You can do that. You can also just grab whatever time you have, as Julia Cameron says. And sometimes that kind of energy, that busy energy, and then you write in the middle of it, that helps in your writing as compared to you set up everything and then the music is there or whatever, the silence
May
is
fountain
there.
pen.
Yeah. And the aircon is whatever is running. And then you can't write. I mean, I believe anyone can write in the middle of anything. It doesn't have to be quality, but it is something.
Right.
I promise you're gonna use it. That
Okay.
line, that idea. And So if it's part of your life, you can write a chapter. Yan, isa pa yan. Yung parang, where do I begin? How do I start the novel? Write a chapter.
Okay.
One chapter a day. One short chapter a day. Doesn't have to be 5 pages. Could be 1 page.
You can start in the middle of the story.
Can, oo.
And for
Pwede.
nonfiction, applies also.
I think so, yeah. Mas maganda pa nga yung nonfiction eh. Parang tips, o diba? So that can be in any order and that's so substantial.
Okay.
And third one ito, nice din to. Break it down into parts.
Okay.
Oh, diba? Alam mo, in my novels, I have characters, I noticed that, I have characters who go on top of the building, look down, and then they see the city in miniature. And they feel, oh, I can manage this. So it's a change of perspective. And then suddenly, even if my character's feeling desperate, suddenly everything feels manageable. She's in control. So I think we can change our perspective. Instead of thinking of a novel as this one big, huge project, let's break it down into parts, chapter by chapter. So that's what I did for Hue City. I wrote one chapter, not a day, but one document, one chapter. And easily, suddenly, I had 200,000 words and had to cut it in half because my publisher would not allow 200,000.
So why did it take 5 years?
Well,
or sinulat mo pa yung iba?
No. I think it's really because I really wanted to push this story out. Even if I thought I didn't want it anymore. Even if I thought I had given up on it because, as you said, I had thoughts as well. Thinking that, well, who would care about this? So why would they care about this thing? And this has been done. But it really came up again and again until I really just made the decision and said, I will finish this. And I've taken that to workshops all over the world.
Wow.
And everyone said, oh, you should put this story out.
Okay, next.
And for the fourth one, I think it's rest and read. Read and rest. I wanted more kasi more than 5, but now the 2 hours na lang, rest and read. So once you've written something, anything actually, it could even be like a caption. Like let it sit there for a while, for 5 minutes. For a book, let it rest there for a week, for 2 weeks, and then you'll come back to it with fresh eyes. And I think that's one, let it incubate. And I think that will make your writing richer. And another thing that will make your writing better is when you read. I mean, now a lot also forget to read.
Yeah.
But reading hits you differently. So it's a different form of relaxation and it's a learning experience. Every time you read something, you really pick up something, whether it's a vocabulary, a situation, how people talk about things. So it's worth spending time in reading. So if you want to write, read.
Right.
And number 5, here, another favorite. I think it's find your community.
Very important.
Right? As a writer, well, we have this misconception that writers are hermits and we want to be hermits. I mean, we want to sleep, right? We want to write and then sleep.
And not talk to anyone.
Exactly. But now, my gosh, it's a different era completely. And so find your community, find like-minded individuals, find writers, and you can do this, or build your community, build your own community. You can do this by attending book launches, book events, poetry readings, all sorts of readings. We have a lot of those things in Singapore, and actually, I also plan to hold readings here in the Philippines. So it's where you'll meet other writers. It's where you'll meet publishers or other creative people where you can get your ideas from, or you could do collabs. I mean, it's always a good thing to be out there, even if you feel like you want to sleep. So it's really not enough to just write the book nowadays.
Right.
Write
It doesn't
a book,
end there.
It doesn't end there at all. You have to be out there.
And you have built quite a community of readers. So impressive. They're so loyal. Tell us about how you built that.
So I have my very adorable street team. I call them the Hue City Streeties.
Okay.
And they're a group of bookstagrammers and readers.
Bookstagrammers.
Yes, and they have become my very, very good friends. And they really read a lot. Like in one month, someone read like 11 books or something. And that is so impressive. We really, hats off to them. And well, I did a call out in my, I'm not an influencer at all, right? I just,
Oh, well, you are.
I just put out my things and I did a call out. Is that what they call it? Call out. But anyway, and people responded, and some of them, they knew me because of NBSB. Some of them came across my newer books, and we're just got around, and I asked them to sign up, and in return, they get access to me.
Wow.
Yeah, they can ask me anything, and I would love actually to help them if
Right.
they're writing, if whatever question they have. I would really welcome it. And we did our first street team meetup last week, and it was fantastic, phenomenal, and instant connection.
Right.
O, diba? So, that's one community. I also have other communities in
Do you also
in
have a sudden
Singapore.
superstar community? Or
Wala.
same?
Same na rin.
Okay.
Pati si Miss Makeover,
Mga
nadadamay
fans.
na rin.
Oo.
So, readers are so important.
Yes.
Sabi nga nila, this quote I love. This is by Samuel Johnson. His quote is, a writer only begins a book, a reader finishes it.
Oh,
diba? So, importante talaga readers, and we write to be read.
Yes.
Diba? We
Right.
talk to be listened to. So,
You can't not care.
Oo.
Right.
And readers din tayo.
Right. So if there's only one mantra or mindset that you wanna leave our readers tuloy, listeners with, what would that be?
I think it's really, you have a story, and you have a story that only you can tell. So tell it. You can tell it. You don't have to write a book if you're not that. You can tell it in so many ways, but better if it's a book.
Yeah.
Because you deserve to be heard, and I think the world would love to read it.
Wow. You can tell it.
Ayun.
You deserve a book.
The world deserves a book.
Thank you so much, Claire.
Wow, thank you,
What a
Mirza.
lovely conversation. Do you want to invite our listeners and your readers to find out more about you and your books?
If you would like to follow the things I do, I have workshops, I have readings, I have panels. You can follow me at Claire Betita in Instagram.
And you have a website.
Yeah, and my website is also clairebetita.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mirza. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
We were having such a great convo, we needed more time. Watch part 2 of this episode next week. Thank you for listening to You Can Do This. If you want to know more about me, visit mirza.com. That's MYRZA.com. And follow me at Mirza Season on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. Hit the follow button on your podcast streaming platforms and hit the notification bell to get alerted every time we release a new episode. Catch you at our next convo, and always remember, you can do this.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.